No, because YouTube rules and whatnot.
So we're live with this crazy idea I had.
Tony's got crazy ideas. Don't listen to him.
Actually, I was just bored and wanted somebody to talk to.
That sounds more likely.
No, I actually wanted to get you two together because I thought y'all are both smart guys, but you come from kind of like, I don't know, what would you say, different sides of the track or something? I don't know. That sounds sounds too Hollywood.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks.
Right?
Thanks.
Y'all are like, which side of the track am I from?
Yeah, I am. Can I at least be from the south side? I don't want to be from the north side.
Yeah.
Make him be from the north side.
Well, I'm Florida. I'm in Florida right now. I mean, it doesn't get much more south.
Well,
are you from Florida though?
If you're a southerner,
no. I mean, I'm a city boy. I can't.
Yeah. I've lived most of my life in the South, whether it's the Southwest or the Southeast. So.
But I thought you were a Midwesterner, Alexei.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was born in Cape Town in Africa, and then moved to Oklahoma. So my childhood was in Oklahoma from 2 to 6, and then Florida until I was 18, and then Colorado until I was like 23 or so, and then back to Florida.
I forgot you were born in South Africa. I was thinking you were born in Oklahoma.
I'm originally from Phoenix, so there we go.
Well, where are you at now, Knight?
I live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Cool.
Where the Civil War started.
I love Charleston.
Originally, back in 1861.
Right.
I wasn't there then either, so don't ask.
I went to Charleston.
I don't know anything that happened then.
I guess it was about 10 years ago. I went to Charleston just to see the alleys. An old architect friend of mine said, "You got to go to Charleston and see the alleys."
And here's the funny thing: I was living here then too.
So he said that they had cool alleyways. Cool, so I had to go. And he's right.
They have cool something. I have no idea what.
The feel of the city's pretty neat. Savannah's neat. Charleston's neat.
If you're visiting, yes.
Well, I was only in Savannah for a couple of days. Yeah. What are the big trees that look sleek like willow trees?
Oak trees.
They're not oak.
Angel oak. They call them angel oak. Yeah.
Well,
at least here in South Carolina they do.
So I don't know. It's funny because I do a lot of hangouts with Nightstryke, and they're always giving me a hard time about UAPs. And
I'm not giving you a hard time. I've seen them.
You. I'm talking about your friends.
Well, they give me a hard time too. So don't.
So I thought it might be fun to get like a gun guy together with Alexei's kind of, I don't know how to describe. You're kind of you're a theoretical physicist, but you're also you created Skate Case and all these other things. And it's not that you're not in the same genre, but we kind of are. I actually tried to fit into that community, but for some reason I wasn't. It's weird because I'm not really like, for some reason I'll try to get involved with the community. It's like the SketchUp community. I've tried, but for some reason, he's a contractor. It's like everywhere I go, I'm something different than those people, right? So I don't know what the gun community thinks about me.
Hold up, let me go look at AT drafting. Yeah, no, that looks like a contractor. You're right.
Well, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Have you ever had those experiences where you said to yourself, "Oh, that's a cool community. I want to be a part of that," and you just never were like let in the inner circle? It's kind of funny.
I'm still wondering where the inner circle is because I'm not there yet.
What do you mean? You run a website. What's the tell Alexei about the website?
It's called guntube.org. It's basically a website where we host YouTube videos that YouTube is deemed not uploadable anymore.
Oh, okay.
So that's I'm losing my shirt on that, but hey, what's for the Second Amendment and the preservation of the Bill of Rights and whatnot.
No, I think that's a great thing to do. Honestly, I think that's a really noble effort. Honestly, yeah.
But but am I nearly as large as some of the other places? No, but I've been running longer than all the other gun websites. They do the same thing.
The other thing you do is host.
Except for Full 30. Full 30's been around forever.
like you do other things too. Like you host my other server like this. I have a server like this.
I also see. I have an IT background, so because before I got into guns, I was working, and I still do. I build computers, customs. I do servers. I do remote support. I do break fix. So I've been very heavy in the IT field. So
You've helped me many times fix my brakes.
Yeah.
My computer breaks.
Tony, I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, but you are all thumbs with a keyboard. You are all thumbs.
No, but I try things. I know. I shouldn't. I guess.
I'm just teasing you. You know that. But no. So a couple of years ago, I got back into guns because, as I said, I'm from Arizona. So originally was into guns because when I lived out there, I had a lot of family friends where they would take me out shooting and take me hunting back in the day before you needed those dreaded licenses and whatnot. And you had to go to you had to go take a course to go hunting. So, and I've lived all over the South, but it wasn't until a few years ago that I got back into firearms because I started buying them left and right. And once you buy your first one, you keep buying more, and it's a never ending cycle. Okay, it's a never ending. Alexei, kind of because you have a couple of those blades and all those martial art weapons, and once you buy one, you see another one, you're like, should I get that? No, I'll wait. And you're like, then you see a good deal on one, and you're like, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
It's like that with anything, really. But some people don't understand that with guns. But it doesn't matter what your hobby is, like whether it's Beanie Babies or whether it's computers or whether it's whether you're playing video games or whether you're doing what it doesn't matter what your hobby is. Eventually you'll acquire more because guess what? You'll see something that you're interested in that you want. I mean, it's the epitome of a hobby.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, just relating whatever. I started off, I was buying all kinds of I started off doing martial arts, right? So I call them training tools, right? So I see it as a training tool. We do use weapons like guns all the time.
Yeah.
They're the most modern sword, right? The gun. So if you don't know how to use a gun, then you don't know how to use the most modern sword that exists.
Right.
It's a training tool, and it comes down to having the proper attitude when using training tools in order to understand that it's a tool, and tools can be used in many different ways, right? So it comes down to the individual using the tool. But I mean, I've got my collection. Here's my homemade nunchucks. You know what I'm saying?
Is that PVC? What's that made out of? The nunchucks.
This is actually made out of mangrove tree.
Mangrove tree.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, someone kind of illegally hacked down a mangrove tree in front of my house
somebody
10 years ago. So no, it wasn't me. So then I basically salvaged all the wood and made a whole bunch of training tools out of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have to hollow out or was it? Are their limbs hollow like that?
No, it's not hollow at all. This is solid wood. It's really hard.
Oh, it just sounded hollow. That's weird.
Yeah. No, yeah. Basically, I just drilled a little hole in there and then got some cord.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's super simple.
Yeah. We were discussing his sword because it looks like somebody just grinded one.
Are you a black belt?
Piece of metal and then welded a pipe to it to make it a sword.
Yeah, this is my sword here.
It's look at that.
Right.
That's wild. That is wild.
Yeah, it's a training tool.
Yeah.
So
but you're a black belt in
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
They don't really use training tools so much, but in Kung Fu we did. So I practiced Shaolin Kung Fu, and they have the belt system. I got to first degree brown, which is one test away from the black belt. And then in Wallum Kung Fu, which I did for 4 years, they don't have a belt system at all.
I don't practice much anymore, but I was pretty good in Kempo.
Nice. Yeah, very cool.
That I knew a little. I didn't get very far with Taekwondo. I took Taekwondo, and I know a little kickboxing.
Yeah.
I was telling Alexei when we were meeting one time that when I was in my 20s, I had a friend of mine take me to Taekwondo with him for about a year. And I don't know if you've ever heard of James Hobby, but he has some videos on YouTube He was our instructor. He was the instructor, and he was a ex-Marine, MP in the Marines. So he was a tough guy.
Nice.
But I only got up to what I think like a green belt or something. It was yellow or green, but I realized I wasn't going to be, Bruce Lee, so I moved on.
Well, what I think is really cool is that the academy I trained at, it's called martialartsadvantage.com. We throw in the .com so everybody knows how to get there. Yeah. But they basically, I started off teaching Taekwondo there, and it was primarily a Taekwondo school. But as, you could say mixed martial arts became more popular, we incorporated all the different skill sets. We got one of the #1 jiu-jitsu guys to come in and open up a shop. Robson Moore, I believe he's a 7-time world champion in Brazil, opened up the Robson Moore Novo União Jiu-Jitsu with us. And so he branched out, started doing his thing, and then a couple other systems have been developed out of there. So it's not just Taekwondo, but it's all the different fight styles, and that includes, Israeli self-defense kind of stuff too. So a lot of fun training exercises, you could say.
Yeah.
Warsaw's out there in the chat. He says, "Hey."
Yeah, he's making fun of me for owning Chinese guns.
Oh,
that's why it's the C.
I didn't say it.
Not, China strike.
Well, here, what's kind of funny, I noticed this when I first started kind of getting involved with the, UAP, UFO community, that it was kind of that the faux pas was still there. And I thought, I started thinking about it, and I realized that gun guys have an extra predicament than most people. And that is, with red flag laws, I think some people feel like they have to be careful what they say that might make them look crazy. And,
the way I don't want to bring politics in it, but the way some certain sides of politics look at those that like firearms and, embrace the Second Amendment, they see them as crazy already because they like to go to the range every Saturday or Sunday, or they like to go hunting. They see those people as crazy when all they're doing is they're just exercising their constitutional right.
Right. So they don't need something else to add to pile on top of that. I don't know. This
right.
is a theory. This is a theory I have.
I mean, they don't want to be seen as, super crazy, or, or all the way. I guess they don't want to seem like the far right. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's all those different delusions, you could say. I mean, I hate bringing up that word, but like perceptions people have, right? Like, if you've never owned a gun, you know nothing about it, and you don't know the culture.
I mean, if you've never used a gun, you don't know anything about it. But but then you've got people like Moms Demand Action who think they know everything about guns, but they've never seen one up close.
Right. Or never been in a position where it's actually helpful.
Yeah.
I hate being like that, but there are positions where it might be helpful.
Here's the funny thing. There's been cases where tons of people who used to be anti-gun, were met with a situation where if they had one, they really would have liked to have had one at that time. And then, for some of them, it just clicks and they go out and get guns, and then they finally get it. They finally understand. But, if they don't, they won't, they don't realize that, it's just like anything else. It really is. It's like, I've got swords too. I've got them hanging up on the wall because, they're more display pieces. Okay.
Right.
But, I've got swords too, because I got sabers. I've got, katanas. I've even got a nodachi. It's huge, but I love it because, why not have a cavalry sword? Because reasons. But, it's just, that's a collecting thing for me. But again, same thing could be said for guns. Okay. A collecting thing, I like going to the range. I've got a backyard where I have my own homemade range. So why not?
Well, one thing I wanted to do too was kind of bring in so we've talked about guns a little bit. Now, something you said, Alexei, which I have always found fascinating for some reason, is the concept of delusions and how their creation and how they affect, the flow. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I thought that would kind of bring some science into,
I'm trying to see. I'm just trying to think about the best way to kind of present it. Well, we're all born into different cultures, right? I mean, I was born into actually, honestly, a very awful culture in Cape Town, South Africa, where they had the apartheid was going on, and so you had different races separated, riding different buses, people drinking from different water fountains. My grandparents kind of had to deal with the whole Nazi Hitler thing. So from my family's perspective, it's always been about moving away from discord and moving more towards freedom, more towards just everyone getting along and having their own thing. So that's like my family culture, but everybody's born into their own fractals of experience. And if you're born into a family where your dad is a hunter or your dad was in the military or something like that, you appreciate that. He's your father. And so you're going to love that. And so people need to respect the things that you love, but at the same time, you need to understand, like I actually had this conversation last night with a friend. You need to have the understanding of knowing that you'll never understand someone else's position, right?
Right.
Like I will never understand what it's like to be in your shoes, Nightstryke, or Artisan Tony. You guys will never understand what it's like to be in my shoes. But through you could just say general compassion and tolerance, we can all get along and make forward movement and harmony.
Right.
I don't need to bash your way of living. You don't need to bash my way of living. We're all people, right?
Right. Live and let be is one of my mottos.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And this reminds me of, some sort of current issues where, it seems like in the UAP community, UFO community, whatever we're calling it, it seems like we're in this lull, waiting on something, waiting on some
waiting
sort
for
of
the next
disclosure.
thing.
We're waiting on something, and people are sort of antsy. And there's some people who have created these social media accounts who only focus on negativity because apparently there's nothing else to do right now. That's the way, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
It gets a lot of replies on their feed. And so they become popular. So it's an easy way to be popular if you're negative about the most popular people.
But Tony, I see a correlation there. But if you looked at the gun world, there's a lot of people doing the same thing in the gun world too. Being negative
about
being negative about the whole thing. I'll admit, even I have been guilty of being a bit negative about the whole gun situation here in the United States. Okay. But you and I have had millions of conversations about this too. So, but it seems like it's not localized to just one area of expertise.
No, it's not. It's just that I brought it up because we're talking about we're juxtaposing UAPs and the gun community, and I'm wondering why more people aren't talking about it. I mean, I kind of know why. I just want to kind of open up the dialogue and hopefully maybe people. I don't think there's ever going to be a point. I think the gun community would have to have full disclosure before they would talk about it. I think one would have to land on the White House lawn, and hop out, little grace. You know what I mean? I really feel that way sometimes. Because and I don't know, it's not like I feel like it's my job to do anything about it, but I do think it's just something I've observed and noticed, but
no, it's interesting what you brought up with how I feel like a lot of action happened and now we're just sitting around, waiting for something, but that's where it's the people are the movement.
I wish more people would see that, but I feel like there's a segment of that community that really depends on government too much already, and they're just waiting for the ball to drop.
Why is it that the government needs to define, or science or religion needs to define truth to you? I mean, that's the way I've always seen it. People are fractals of Earth, and then everything else is a fractal of the human imagination. So it's like the government's almost a fractal of human creation, and now you want them to come tell you what reality is. It's like, no, you're connected to Earth first. You should be able to be aware of what's happening. And so that's why I don't really ever think there will be a full disclosure with UAP because I think some people will always be so caught up in the system that exists that
or people will be stuck in their ways about conspiracies.
Right.
I agree, you see, and that's part of my point is that the government, I don't think will ever have full disclosure or will allow it from their standpoint. So it's this, and remember, I'm older. What am I, 59? I have seen this cycle several times where I've been interested in UFOs since I was a kid, right? I remember when the UK series UFO came to the United States in reruns. You remember this TV series UFO? It was a UK-based production. At some point in the 70s or maybe the early 80s, it came to the United States as a rerun, reruns. And I love that show, but I've always been interested. But where was I? I had a thought and I lost it. But the thing is, I feel like that over the past 50 years, people have, government has grown to such an extent that people rely too much.
It goes back to what you were saying the other day about rights and responsibilities. Because we have a responsibility to our heart and to the earth and to doing what's right for humanity. And then rights make it so easy to just kind of like be a jerk in a way and then just be like, well, it's my right to not pay that. It's like, well, I just did all that work for you. Like, as a contractor, right? I've done a lot of work. I've installed windows before, and it's like, I just finished doing this big job, but they're not going to pay me because why? Like, I don't understand it. Like,
is that a true story, or is that an example?
It's an example of, it's been, I don't want to bring too much.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm still waiting. I'll wait patiently.
Yeah. Well, I get into a lot of trouble
soon, but you wait patiently.
Right.
I get into a lot of trouble about my philosophy on rights versus responsibilities because I feel like responsibility comes first.
Just remember, working for Tony, it's hard. It's hard. It's
I'm
hard.
sure.
No, it's probably too fun, too much fun.
Nothing
ever gets done.
For anyone out there watching, I'm just teasing Tony because that's our thing. I tease him, he teases me.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, so it's just teasing.
I saw something super disturbing. Okay, everyone saw it. The entire world saw it. A horse walking on people the other day, yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Who didn't see that picture?
Not one. It was a line of horses. I saw the whole video. It was multiple, one after the other.
Right. So when you think about rights versus responsibilities, the cops have the right to do that. It's by law, they have the right to do what they did. But as far as being a responsible human, if you're that police officer, how could you do that?
Yeah.
Right. Like.
Yeah. They have a right. They have a responsibility to protect the public, not attack them.
Right. Rights versus responsibilities.
Yeah.
A big difference.
I'm gonna throw this out there because unfortunately, this is kind of, I've said this already on Twitter this morning and even the news, because I saw this morning. I was like, it's wild that even someone even think to do that, in Canada. But I've looked at their government, their founding document. You realize they don't have civil rights there in their country, in their founding document. They don't have any rights whatsoever. It's not stated in the document. So literally, the police and their government can literally walk all over them, and they just have, and there's nothing that they can do about it. They could try and take them to court for being going too far, but that's about as far as they could go. Unlike here in the United States, if somebody tried to run over, if a group of police on horses tried to run over a group of people who are protesting, those police here in the United States might get shot depending on what part of the country they're in.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing right there, and that's where you're responsible.
It's not that I'm trying to incite violence. I'm just saying
of course not.
that people's lives mean a bit more, I guess, down here than they do up there, because we actually have a line in the sand in our government, in our founding document that says this is what you can do as a citizen, and this is what the government can do as the government. They can't cross that line.
The problem I see a lot of the time is that we just focus on the rights. We focus on the right of one side and the responsibility of the other, instead of looking at the rights and responsibilities of both sides. So the protesters have a right to be there, but they have a responsibility not to destroy property.
Exactly.
Right? You see, so we don't
I haven't seen them destroy any property. I've been watching the videos.
I'm not saying that they have.
No,
right? I'm just I'm just saying yes. So anyway, I do get in trouble with that. I did have a Heisenberger had a question. I don't know if I can answer it. Are there cases where the U.S. Army used EMP weapons to take down some UAP, to take a UAP down? Well, I've heard people theorize that back, what was it, the 60s, when the 40s and through the 60s or whatever, when we had the supposed crashes, that we were actually trying to take them down. They didn't crash. We shot them down somehow. What do y'all think about that? What do you think, Alexei?
I've heard the same thing that you've heard, but I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah. My understanding of EMPs is yes, you can make a weapon that just does the EMP part, but in order to get a normal EMP wave, you'd have to fire off a nuclear weapon for that kind of thing. And
so you could have a low grade nuclear weapon, localized, right?
Right. And
you had a half a kiloton go off, in the air next to a.
And remember all the testing they did in Bikini Atoll.
Yeah, well, out west too, right?
Well, just off the top of my head, I mean, thinking about it,
in New Mexico, yeah.
You could make EMP. I mean, that's just kind of generic term, right? Electromagnetic pulse.
Electromagnetic pulse, yeah.
So you could direct that in a beam.
Yeah.
With a system, with a proper system.
I'm lucky there's enough steel beams in my house. It's steel beams in my house that I have a Faraday cage, so I'm somewhat protected.
They're not configured properly. Neil Skinner says we used microwaves for that. Is what I heard.
No, I joke about that, but literally, my house is old, but it was built by an engineer, and he literally put steel beams everywhere in this house. So I can't get any cell phone signal or any radio signals or TV signals in the house. I have to have everything piped in from outside into the house in order to get any of that because of that. So I literally have a either intended or a natural Faraday cage in here.
Right.
So,
well,
I understand the technology a little bit.
Here's what I've always imagined. And for some reason, I was shot up with a dose of extra intuition when I was a child through my experience. But here,
did they hand that out, or did they force
my intuition tells me that they use different propulsion technology to cross, space time, light years, than they do when they're in the effects of, gravity on a planet. Oh. So, right. I mean, you can you can warp space around you and then get somewhere, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to fly in the atmosphere of a planet when you get there, right? Mm-hmm. So. I don't know. That's really a question. What do you think about that, Alexei?
I don't know. I mean, you got different gears in your car. One for the highway, one for when you're first going, first gear versus fifth gear.
And it is an automatic, so
I don't know. I don't know that, I don't know. I would say I kind of would just guess that they would use the same technology just to keep their.
Why does that come to me though? Why does that come to me that it's like it's written in my brain? No,
Alexei, I think he's meaning more like how the United States submarines, some of them are diesel, okay, or instead of nuclear, because we still have some diesel ones.
No,
some of them are diesel, but they can also run off and just all electric.
If you create a warp bubble around a craft, right, and it came from a zero gravity environment. Okay, now it's thrown into where it connects, where space is folded, and it connects inside the effect of the sun's gravity. All right, so that's a different thing. The warp bubble might not even have been created by your craft to get here. So when you got here, your craft might have to have others. All I'm saying is, I think that it's possible that they could crash. That's all I'm saying. I mean, see, I'm a physical guy, right?
If it's a machine, there's going to be points of failure no matter what.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. And I don't think some of these beings may just have spaceships that are only maybe 1,000 years ahead of us or something, and they still have, mechanical systems that can fail, or computer systems. I don't know.
I mean, because let's be honest, even a computer like this one right here, right next to me,
even
this can fail. Yeah, I built it. If it fails, then guess what? I got the thing and I rebuild it, and it's different. The same shell, but the parts inside are different. So it's like that. Maybe they're upgrading their stuff too. But again, if it's mechanical, or if it's I'm not going to use the term man-made, but if it's made by them, and it's not biological, then yeah, it's going to fail, because stuff that's made.
Well, especially if it's especially if it's unmanned or grade, whatever.
Well, even biological fails, right?
Yeah. Or if it's just purely a drone, their drone.
Yeah, anything can fail.
It's only going to have a certain amount of artificial intelligence available to it. Neil Skinner says, I believe our early radar was off the chart, and he believes that the early radar caused difficulties for the phenomena.
Oh.
Well, it probably certainly was more.
Didn't early radar also give off radiation too?
Probably more.
Yeah, a lot more than it does today, obviously.
I wish I was more familiar with the radar. What were the first systems? They probably just like a simple rotating.
Yeah, I think Great Britain had the first, right? Didn't they developed it for World War II or before World War II?
They may have, but they may have developed it before World War II. But by the time World War II started going, like if you look at the duration of the war, by like the first, second year, or like by the middle of World War II, everybody had it, no matter what. Everybody had it.
Well, I had always read that Hitler was, that was one of the things that kept him from, fully, attacking, Great Britain with the Luftwaffe. That was because Great Britain had such a decent, coverage. I don't know. Am I dreaming that?
I think you are, because they pretty much pummeled them, with the Blitz.
What are you talking about? They didn't pummel them. They didn't even.
They did a lot of bombing.
The Germans never got across the pond. What are you talking about?
Right. They never bombed any part of England.
Okay. If they had bombed them to an extent, they would have been able to easily invade. So, anyway, I'm not a war historian. I should be.
I'm not very good at that stuff.
The Blitz, they did bomb England. Were they very accurate? No, they were not very accurate, but they did bomb England.
Well, I know the early rockets that Hitler developed weren't that accurate. The Buzz, what are they called?
The V2s.
The V2, yeah. The V2, yeah. They were frightening, but they weren't very accurate. Right.
By the way, the guy who made those, the guy who came up with those, defected over to the United States later on.
Von Braun, right? Is that
Von Braun, yeah. Von
Braun.
Braun. He defected over here to the United States, and guess what? That shot our space program straight up.
The other thing is that the early radar systems Great Britain had allowed them to get their planes in the air and shoot down some of those V2s.
Yeah.
There's actually video of them coming in behind the V2 and shooting them down.
Also, that's another thing.
I should say old film. Not
a lot of the German experimental craft that they used during World War II, like the rocket and jet in early jet propulsion airplanes they made. Technically, those were seen as UFOs at that point too, because nobody had ever seen a craft like that before.
That's why I always bring up John Searle. Have you heard of John Searle and seen the levity disc concept?
I've seen the levity disc, concept. Yeah, I've seen the plans for that.
Yeah, I mean, he drew up a UFO basically in 1960 and flew them around the world. He would invite people to come watch it. He would invite the media, and then the media would be like, UFO does something. And he's like, no, it's not a UFO. It's well known. Every government knows about it. How are you going to call it a UFO? Like,
people just want to attract attention to it. That's what it is.
He identified it for him. He said, it's my thing. And even the Commodore of Great Britain, you know, like the Air Force commander was even went on and said, it's true, it's his, we know about it, it's okay, don't worry. I mean, he was on the radio saying it.
I mean, in the early '60s, even the United States, we were coming up with vertical takeoff aircraft, and one of them looked dead up like a UFO.
The Aero
those
car,
were based
the Aero car, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but they were trying to try and make a vertical takeoff lift aircraft.
Those
Like
just had big fans,
the Harrier
though.
jets, the Harrier jets can do it.
Yeah.
And the new F-35 can also do vertical takeoff with just a single engine now instead
the
of having
Harrier
to have
jet,
multiple.
was that one of them?
The Harrier jet was one of them.
Yep.
And then the new F-35 Lightning II that the United States military is starting to roll out, and a bunch of, it's the Joint Strike Fighter. Well, basically it does vertical takeoff too. So instead of having to fly off of a deck or off of a road, it can just lift off.
And then hybrid blimp technology as well.
Yeah. But the original VTOL technology, straight up, the first prototype looked exactly like a UFO because it was just like a glass bubble, and then it had like engines on like four sides of the disc. And it was just, if you look it up, you can find it on Wikipedia. It's out there. It's like the first experiments of VTOL technology, and it looks straight up like something out of science fiction. But it was just our first initial test at trying to create a vertical takeoff aircraft.
I always go back to my own personal experience. Like I worked on a boat. They didn't want anyone to know about it until it was finished. It was a 3-year-long process and cost quite a bit.
Right.
And that was just a group of like 5 or 6 guys just building this huge vessel and boat and doing this thing. I can only imagine what's being built, just with people not wanting to know.
Did you all see this where recently, this was just a few days ago, I think it was the 15th or something, these F-22 Raptors were deployed over Hawaii. They were Hawaiian F-22s because of they saw these objects in the air.
I hadn't heard that.
They went and identified them, but they won't disclose what they found.
Probably coconuts.
Floating
coconuts. That's what it was.
No, I did watch Chris Lato's last video, and I think that he was talking about the sphere with the cube in it. Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was like the acorn shaped.
The acorn. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Those photographs are awesome too.
They were.
He took from the cockpit.
Yeah, and he was able to basically like get a pretty good estimate on the size of the craft based off of the different photos and the arc length, and it's pretty cool.
Let me go find that right quick. Because I want to show people. Chris has got an awesome channel, and
the sphere acorn blimp. Yeah,
right here. Let's do this. Advertisements.
Click on them.
Click on them.
No, don't click on the ads.
But there was this sphere, but then in a minute it'll show a pretty clear picture of the acorn one. Now, this is kind of cool because Chris has this simulation program, and he will put the data in from the flight. And I think these photographs are amazing.
Yeah. I like how he related it to the was it the Fravor incident? I forget the guy's name, but
look at that, man. Now, these things, the thing that images don't show is the fact that, this jet's flying Mach 1, and this thing's not sitting still. This isn't a blimp that's just sitting in the air, right? I was going to show you the math. This is one thing I like about Chris.
Yeah, that's why I like the videos a lot. They're really well.
Here we go. He'll literally graph it out. And
God. I feel like I'm in science class again.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting. You should watch his videos because, it's not just looking at a photograph, and it explains, these things are moving. They're not, because when you're looking at a photograph, you tend to think, oh, he flew by this thing. He
has one picture that shows all 4 images together in one line, so you can see what it would look like as you're kind of flying by in different still images.
I remember that.
That was the coolest.
I know where I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that might be right there.
Was it? It was where the edge of the. Oh, yeah, there it is. Because
you can see this. You can see him. In the middle of the screen, you can see the acorn as well.
Yeah,
it looks more like a metallic capsule.
This is the progression. In other words, this is the same object. Yeah. See,
he overlaid the photos so you could see at the different distances what it looked like. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's cool. He's actually got a.
Yeah, I like this video a lot.
Yeah, this is awesome.
No, looking at it just from the picture, that looks like it's a metallic capsule of some kind.
Yeah,
I said it looks like it has dual exhaust going down. I was being funny, but that's some kind of cylinder looking, or is that some kind of a wind effect thing?
Who knows? Who knows?
It's so hard to tell from a blurry photo like that what you're looking at.
Well, I'll be honest. That photo is a lot easier to see, a lot easier to make out than some of the photos of Bigfoot.
Right. If you does a close up on the acorn photo, that one's actually more. It's more defined.
But I'm just saying, I've never seen a weather balloon that has this. That's obviously some kind of little. I don't know if it's a cockpit, but it's a bulge, right? And this is the light is glinting, reflecting off of this. Right, so that's the front or something. I don't know. There's a little object right here.
It's small.
Right,
it looks like
it's not too though.
If I define it, it would look like some sort of like atmospheric shuttle or something.
Yeah,
some science fiction one.
But it's about 6 foot in diameter. Yeah.
Oh.
6.33 feet, I think, was his final conclusion.
It's a one-seater then.
Yeah, it's definitely a one-seater.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how big you are, right? If they're a little man.
Well, no, it's true. If you're really short, it could be a two-seater. You're right. So.
I thought that was a really cool video.
Yeah. Cool. But so Heisenberger's seen Chris. That's one thing I wanted to do is one of my goals was to kind of expose some of these better, better channels. I mean, Chris is a retired F-16 pilot, so he knows what he's talking about.
Well, not only that, but he was a skeptic at one point in his life, and then after he saw the interviews, right, with Commander, is it Fravor? Am I saying that right? Yeah, after he saw those interviews, he's like, well, there's something legitimate here, and then you have Luis Elizondo kind of coming out and saying, there's something very legitimate here, and we all need to actually take a look at it, and science needs to double check their work. Yeah.
Well, and then you have other legitimate scientists like Avi Loeb and those guys at the Galileo Project who are, we're talking Harvard, MIT, Caltech. These are serious, people getting involved.
How likely, though, do you think that they'll be able to jump onto some type of 5D multiverse theory? Because it's so almost impossible to get scientific data of something like that.
Well, I think we can still grab physical data at the same time that we're, you know what I mean? I still think we're still dealing with physical objects at some point, right?
They become physical when they're within our perception.
What?
Like they become physical when they're within our perception. But
you don't think there could be other planets that evolved with beings ahead of us that have technology that are just visiting?
That's likely, but I think based off of the breadcrumbs and whatnot, and just from my understanding, I think it's more likely inner and outer kind of realms. But I don't know. I really don't know. And inner and outer can also include coming from other planets. If you want to do interdimensional travel, I've mentioned that you'd probably want to shrink down towards the center of time, let time rotate you around, shrink back up, and you're like halfway across the universe.
As I said, I was in IT, and I still am in IT for a long time before they basically shut down the project. I used to have just a bunch of old computers that I would be working on or doing something, have them for some purpose, but instead of doing a screensaver, I would run a application called SETI. You remember SETI? Search for extraterrestrial intelligence. and I would run that app, and just let the numbers crunch and all that. But I never saw anything out of it other than the data that they released, and it's just hey, it was something I could do with the computer when I wasn't using it.
Right.
So
that method though, right? The SETI issue is because the SETI issue is relying on light speed, right? Like you need to send a radio wave out, and then it needs to interact with something 100,000 light years away, and then 100,000 light years we got a signal back. That just doesn't seem like it's a very feasible approach. Like with our modern understandings, right?
Well, any signals that we would be receiving would have been sent that
something on the wall, see what sticks, see what we can
totally.
find,
I'm not like bashing it in any way. I think it's great that there was like a legitimate effort to get started, but
I'm just sad that they can't they canceled the whole thing.
Right.
They just shut it down.
Well, they started parts of the telescope started falling apart, right? Didn't they have some issues with just the thing starting to fall apart?
I don't remember that.
Or is that another telescope?
I think there's another one.
What is that? SETI? SETI.
I don't know what telescope they used.
They had the big, huge ground-based, concave radio.
Where was that one located?
In South America, wasn't it?
The one they used in a James Bond movie. Not that one.
They destroyed that one. I think that one they destroyed.
Because
I saw an article about it, a while back saying James Bond satellite being dismantled.
Right. There's a lot of
metal
there.
I think I've seen a video of parts of it just falling apart.
Yeah.
And that's why they
demolished
it. It got to a point where it couldn't be maintained anymore.
I've been out to the VLA, the one that they had in the movie Contact, where they have all those different radio telescopes kind of connected to make one big assembly. That one was a lot of fun.
I don't know if you can see this picture.
Ooh.
That's the one I was talking about, the James Bond one.
Yeah, well, this is the one. I think it's in Central or South America. Where is it? Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
Again, I thought it was in. I thought it was in Colombia somewhere. But anyway, this is why I was thinking that it's they had maintenance issues and I think they ran into money problems, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know y'all. I'm not like Nightstryke. I'm not going to read a whole article on the air. There's some of that teasing, Nightstryke.
I'm always getting. But
Nightstryke has a show where he's very factual about the news he reports.
Yeah, I report on gun news, constitutional news, constitutional rights news.
Is there not? Maybe France has a radio telescope like that in South America. Beeperman's saying Puerto Rico too.
That is Puerto Rico, right?
Is there not one in like Brazil or someplace? I thought there was.
I don't know.
Oh well.
I'm not up to date on telescopes and satellites. And
I don't know. When I was a kid, I was fascinated with this stuff.
I mean, when I was a kid, I had a telescope too, but I couldn't see very far with it because apparently when I was a kid, I didn't have these, and that put a little dampener on a lot of things. So.
Yeah, I think it's great though that the Galileo project's getting involved. And I think it's almost required, right? Because we were talking about like the disclosure and the process and how people might actually even believe it. And it's like if you have so many different communities, different people are going to need to be the ones to tell the different people.
What do you mean actually believe it? What does that mean?
Well, like to get scientific and materialistic looking people to actually like believe into UAP and actually understand that it's a real thing, you're going to need someone that's very the head of the science community to tell them that. If you want someone to tell, like, different communities are going to need their people to like agree upon it. It's weird. It's the consensus reality that people go along with. So I think it's great that Galileo project's getting like, you don't need to go to India and tell people that UAP are real, or you don't need to go to Puerto Rico and tell them that. It's common knowledge. It's in their culture. It's only really Western culture and like modern monetary societies where it's not a known thing.
Mm.
So like by having the Harvard, it's Harvard. So by having Harvard tell the world that it's real, it'll be a real thing.
Yeah, you got to have more Boston in that accent.
I'm not that good at it. I'm working on it.
He went to Harvard.
I'm walking here.
No, that's more New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm not. I just can't do it.
We can't give Harvard too much of a hard time. They're building, equipment on top of their roof to study.
I'm not giving. I think it's great what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to downplay Harvard.
No, I know. I just said that in case Avi was listening.
All right, Tony. Do you want to put me on the spot now?
What do you want me to say
about the whole Phoenix Lights thing?
Okay, yeah, this was part of the plan tonight was to cross the two, was to get Nightstryke to tell his story.
I'm going to use a Ghostbusters term. We're crossing the streams. It's very dangerous. Don't do it unless you know what you're doing, because it could cause a nuclear reaction. But as I mentioned before, I'm originally from Arizona. Okay, I've been living in the southwest and the southeast most of my life, but I'm originally from Arizona. I was living in Arizona at the time the Phoenix Lights situation happened, and I did see what went on. And I don't remember how many lights there were exactly. Okay, but I was watching. Tons of people took videos of this. You could actually see the lights in the videos, but the lights were moving in like kind of a V, a largish, wide V angle. Okay. And they were moving in formation as if they were, part of a squadron, more or less. And it looked really odd. And I asked my mom, Mom, do those look like normal jets to you, or normal, do you think those are helicopters? She's like, I don't know. I'm not sure, because she was in Air Force ROTC at one point, so she would know aircraft better than me. But she didn't know. She even called the local Air Force base. I think it was Luke Air Force Base at the time, and asked them if they had anybody flying over Phoenix at the time. If that was any of their aircraft, and they were like, "No, ma'am, it's not our aircraft, and we have no idea what it is." Because they just flat out they were flat out honest with her over the phone, because she called and asked. Because they have no idea. So they can't deny anything, but they can't say yes to anything either. So, I mean, because they have no idea. They don't have enough information. We didn't have enough information. I had no idea what was going on, other than, it was really spooky. It was creepy. But again, it was just several lights moving in one formation in the sky, going southeast.
We've got level field here in Chattanooga, and we used to have air shows every year. I mean, for probably 20, 30 years as I was growing up. And the Blue Angels would come, and as good as they were, they could not fly they could not fly where they looked like they were attached.
Right.
That they could fly in formation, but they would be, they would get a little out of sync, or when they turned, they would get a little farther apart or something like that. These lights on these craft are perfectly, it's like they're attached with some sort of raw, that's how, when you say flying in formation, that's what's amazing.
If you look at some of the video that some people have shown, they look perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah. And they don't, they don't change distance apart. They don't change
distance apart.
That
they
V-shape
move as one object, which, who knows? It could have been a wing of some form of extraterrestrial aircraft, or UAP, or UFO, whatever you want to call it. I'm fine to call it whatever you want, but it's some sort of craft that could fly. Okay. It could have been a wing, and the lights on that wing for, navigation purposes. I don't know. I'm just.
Well, it was like a mile wide, though. I mean, this thing is huge.
It's just like, I have no idea. I was living in Gilbert. Gilbert's like, southeast of Phoenix, in the metropolitan area, because, southeast of Phoenix, you've got Mesa, you've got Gilbert, you've got Chandler. Okay. And I was in Gilbert, and I may be off on the directions of which they were going, because I was only 14. I paid attention to it for like, 20 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm bored of this. I'm gonna go play video games because for normal 14-year-old.
So yeah, and see the other thing is ZMOG. I have actually seen. I have a friend that's in the Air Force. I've actually seen, and I've been to these air shows. I've seen flares.
Yeah, I've seen flares too.
You know, I've seen them. They don't stay exactly a distance apart. The wind will take them here and there. They don't stay the same altitude, right? They burn at different rates, you know. So, and they also have flaming, you know, dripping debris. I don't know what they're made of, but you can see flames dripping from the bottom of them, right? Or they as the debris burns off, it drops.
Right.
That's different. Flares are a different thing.
Well,
so
there's also in Arizona we have a lot of road flares too because of the sandstorms you get in Arizona. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they get really bad, and sometimes you have road flares to try and help people see through the roads so people don't crash into each other.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen flares. Those definitely like that.
So if you look at some of the video people have taken of it, that does not look like a flare at all.
Yeah, no, and then you have
I've seen these flares that he's talking about that hang.
Yeah.
They're not in a V-shaped configuration. They don't move all together without changing.
No,
they don't. You know, it's kind of silly.
Well, you have
I understand ZMOG if you're
later
a
on
skeptic,
in the paper
but
they tried to play it off saying it was just weather balloons or it was just balloons with lights on candles or lights on them, and I'm like, listen, if they were candles on a balloon, that it would have gone one blow of the wind and all of those candles would have gone out. That wouldn't have been a candle with a balloon. I'm sorry.
I'll play skeptic for a second. The only thing I will accept is that it was our own technology that was being tested.
Yeah, I can see that. It could be a blimp, giant blimp.
Could have been a blimp.
It could be our own. The Air Force, and this is theorized by some people that the black projects are being tested on our own military.
But I had no idea what it was, and honestly, my mom called the Air Force, and I'm like, you really called the Air Force and asked them, or don't you think they might come and try and take us away if you did that? And she's like, nah, we're fine.
There are plenty of films you can watch on flares.
Didn't the mayor or the governor, I forget who it was, went on TV, had a press conference because it created so much havoc or whatever, and he has an alien, he literally got one of his friends to dress up like an alien and take off his hat. And then later on in a documentary, that same guy feels bad for doing that because he saw the craft himself and he was just overwhelmed by it. So he's in a documentary later on saying he felt bad for doing that mock press conference.
I didn't see the craft. I just saw the lights that may have been on it.
Well, I think he saw the lights as well. Yeah. I don't know if he actually saw the craft
but and again, I don't remember. I'll be honest. I don't remember which direction they were going because I didn't have a compass on me. So I'll be honest on that, but I did see them, and it's just like it's one of those situations where is this real? You have to pinch yourself because
here's the thing.
It really didn't feel real.
If you really look into this, like a lot of people have, you will see the path. Flares do not make a path all the way across the state of Arizona.
And because
that's what these lights did. People they're documented. The path is documented going across almost the entire state of Arizona. Okay.
And the problem is most of the Phoenix area is all desert. Okay. All of the surrounding Phoenix area, even some of the outside cities and metropolitan area, it's all desert because it's called the Valley for a reason, because it's all just flat desert land. Okay. So anybody trying to say that it was just swamp gas, well, where the hell is the swamp? That's what I want to know. So they couldn't use that excuse because desert, no swamp. They're like, okay, we're gonna have to give it to you. That's a UFO or a UAP because we ain't got nothing. We have no idea what it is. That was the only time the government would tell someone we have no idea what it is. We don't know what it is, so we don't know what to tell you. It's the one time you get a straight answer out of the government. Right? It's amazing.
Well,
so what are the content do we have that we can cross, that we can What do we have? What do we have? What can we do to convince? I guess we can't convince people that they can talk about it.
Honestly,
it's okay.
If somebody wants to believe, they'll believe, and if somebody doesn't want to believe and wants to be, I hate to use the word ignorant, but they want to be ignorant of reality around them, then I guess they're going to continue being ignorant.
Well, I think we should quit using the word believe. I think we should start saying, I think this or I think that. Because believe puts it in a category that's like, to me, and I'm saying to me, okay, I'm guilty of saying like projecting things, but I'm going to start being better at saying for me, I think about things. I don't necessarily believe them, right? So I don't believe, to me, okay, so I guess my main problem.
That's all about perception then.
The main problem I have with the thing with believe is how people will mix their criticisms of this whole genre with religion, right? And they'll use it as a way to keep criticizing people who believe different things.
You just heard me there. I didn't say anything about religion.
I wasn't talking about you. You reminded me of this thing about believe.
Fine.
No, I hear you. When you say belief, it's a belief, right? Like you believe. And
I was expressing myself. I wasn't trying to relate any religion.
You, Nightstryke. I was saying you reminded me of this thing. How I don't like the word believe. So it's like I can think about Phoenix in different ways, right? I can think that it might be our own technology. I can think that it might be, alien technology, or I can think. I don't have to believe any of those things, right? I can think about them. I can theorize, I can talk about them without getting mad, But when you start talking about people's beliefs, they tend to get mad.
I was just expressing myself, and he has to go on a rant.
My head's going to explode. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking.
I'm going to go cry in a corner now. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to go cry.
What I think is that there's a lot of blimp technology that's not so talked about.
Yeah.
Like advanced blimps. I don't think anyone's talked about them since like the 1800s. Like what happened to the airships?
Well, it's not blimps are different than airships. Remember, because original airships were filled with hydrogen.
Well, right. But then you also had like I think in World War
hydrogen.
They were filled with hydrogen or some sort of flammable gas, and it's because the Hindenburg, it was filled with hydrogen and it was painted with thermite paint. That's why it went up in flames so great.
That one, that's a bad example.
That was a bad idea.
That made everyone think, though. They always go back to that. Oh, no one uses the blimp anymore because of that. But it's like, no, there's lighter than aircraft.
No, nobody uses airships. Nobody uses Zeppelins anymore because of that. Not blimps. Blimps use a different technology than Zeppelins.
Lighter than aircrafts is how, just a good way to frame it. And then you have, but they were like they would launch airplanes from airships back in the day.
From Zeppelins, yes.
Yeah. That was a common practice in World War II.
I just wonder why. I just wonder
militarily.
Well, they did that in World War I too.
Exactly. So advance that militarily, right? And now you have like UAP dropping out little orbs going out with advanced tech. I'm not saying it's our craft, but it's not that far of a stretch to think that we don't have advanced blimp technology or lighter
advanced. Well,
I would think by now
instead of just UAPs, why not drones?
Definitely.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because of how you've seen how far drone technology has gone in just like even the last 10 years.
Well, even AI swarm technology.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not too far of a stretch to say that, hey, it could be a blimp or a swarm of drones.
I'm thinking though that just from my own thinking that I get the impression that we're past the need for blimps per se, and the technology that we have, we may have even perfected anti-gravity or whatever, right? So would we need a blimp if we had gotten that far?
I mean, didn't the Germans at one point, during World War II say that they had figured out, anti-gravity because one German or something from like, what was it, Bavaria or something, came up with the idea and he had all these plans for this, UFO shaped or this saucer shaped contraption.
I'm familiar with the stories I've heard. I think they called it the Glocken.
Yeah, something like that.
And basically, it had like a liquid mercury drive, and they would run a magnetic field through it. I've heard like the stories behind it. Yeah, I mean, apparently
they've even made bad science fiction movies on it too.
Yeah, they called it the Bell. Yeah.
What did you say it was called?
In German, it's called like Glocken, but I think it's called the Bell.
I wonder if the pistol's named after that.
No, it's not. No, that's
I'm just kidding. That was after Glock himself.
Right? Technically, that was part of Germany at that point. Splitting hairs there.
I don't know if that's real. I'm just.
Are you saying blimp as in the way we think of a shape, or are you saying blimp as in?
No, it could be triangular. I mean, imagine if you made like a triangular plane.
No, but what I'm saying is, are you talking about the when you say lighter than air, are you talking about the same way old blimps work, or are you?
Yeah, just like the entire weight of the object is lighter than air. That makes it float. It's just like boats floating on water. If your craft is lighter than air, it floats. It's all about buoyancy.
Wouldn't there be an issue with the speed? Well,
that's where electrogravitics is so untalked about. And that's been developed since 1910, and that definitely works within Earth's atmosphere.
That's what I'm talking about. I think that would, to me, that makes more sense that we've highly developed that over. You know what I mean?
Can you look up lifter real quick? I think people would like to see that.
Lifter.
Yeah, like lifter levitation. You're gonna see triangles that are made of like tin foil and copper wire.
Oh, tin foil.
I could look it up too if you.
No, I remember these. Yeah, let me get
So you could make one of those pretty easy, in my opinion, if you had the budget. That you could put a person in.
Yeah.
And that's electrogravitic, and that will definitely work within the atmosphere because I'm not familiar with the whole it works in a vacuum or not. From what I understand, at 1,000,000 volts, they work in vacuums, but I don't know. But these
would be limited to that local area of that, right?
What do you mean?
These models.
Those models are just tiny models, but you build it up and you make one that's 100 feet long. That could definitely support a battery system or solar panels. Or
there's also magnetic levitation too, and there's I hate to use this, but we already have the technology. We've used it. I mean, I believe they've even used it in the Florida area. They've had hovercraft. You know those hovercraft boats and whatnot. That's another form of levitation.
Yeah.
Granted, it doesn't go very far above the ground or even the sea or ocean, but it does hover.
If you go on YouTube, you'll definitely find a video like right away.
Yeah, I think I've seen one of these, and he just had a little tiny wire attached to it to the power source, right?
Right.
And it would fly as long as the little cable was.
And they shoot up quick. Those things move fast.
Yeah.
So just imagine now electrogravitic technology going onto something that's already lighter than air to begin with.
Ooh.
Right. So that's why I always say like the electrogravitic vacuum blimp is the way to go.
But see, on something like that, you're relying a little bit on aerodynamics, though, and I don't think blimps are really that aerodynamic.
They aren't. They're not. But
they can be
as far as we know. As far as we know, though.
Right. That was before we had all the carbon fiber and all those different materials that are so lightweight and super strong. You could design an aerodynamic blimp, I would think, out of carbon fiber.
I mean, or hell, go back to go back and try and refine some Zeppelin designs using modern materials.
Right. I know Lockheed Martin has really advanced hybrid blimps. They have cool renders. I mean, you can look those up too. Like the really cool ideas.
I do know there's one company in Germany trying to bring back, modern Zeppelins, and they're trying to use blimp. Right now they're using blimp technology and they're giving tours, but they want to bring back, the continental, travel.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Maybe we might actually be able to use the Empire State Building for what it's meant for. It was originally meant as a Zeppelin terminal.
Just don't hit the little pokey thing on top.
Yeah. For those that don't remember, are too young or didn't read their history books. Originally, the top floor that they don't let you go to in the Empire State Building, which originally meant as a loading and unloading loading bay for a Zeppelin terminal.
Well, there's actually video of those actually doing it, right? There's Zeppelins.
Yeah, there was a few occasions.
There's old movies. There's old films of.
They actually did it, but that was all filmed before the Hindenburg burned.
Yeah,
and once the Hindenburg burned, that concept went away, out with the out with the wind.
It's kind of like mega yachts, though. But like I always call them boat ship clubs for billionaires. The airship clubs, like modern day airship clubs. Yeah. These things are like decked out like your most advanced yachts. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I'd rather be on an airplane or a helicopter personally, because
they're advanced tech. Like
those are advanced enough for me. I'm old school.
Yeah. Like the Goodyear blimp is the only one people ever talk about nowadays, and that.
Yeah, I mean, you only hear about the Goodyear blimp because they go over every major football game.
Right.
Not that I'm into football, but I see him over football.
I can't get over this feeling of inefficiency when it comes to a blimp. I don't know what it is. I guess it's because when I was a kid, we always saw them over football fields and they were just lumbering.
Well, you think that they can't move fast, but like a bubble of air moves pretty quick in water. I know it's different, but like, I don't know. I personally think that they could be pretty effective, but I don't have one. I don't know, whatever.
I don't want one. I don't want to be in one. I'd rather use a normal airplane, or hell, I've got 2 legs. I could walk. I mean, once I get to water, I'll take a boat. I'll make sure to bring my my floaties.
Right.
I'll make sure to put floaties on both arms. I'll be fine.
I don't know why I have such a fascination for like a hot air balloon. I just think it's so primitive. You can just get a big sheet, tie it up, and then get a fire, and now you can float around and just go. And that's
that technology just has to do with temperature wise, the temperature of the air, right?
Yeah, it just hotter air rises. Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated by the technology. It's so simple.
Scary. I think
now, believe it or not, that technology was around, a little bit before even the Civil War.
Yeah,
they started messing with hot air balloons around that time.
I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like I've seen photos of like ancient travelers and explorers with them, but I don't know.
No. I've seen. I did research when I was a kid on hot air balloons, and the technology has been around for forever. I mean, they first started messing with
the Chinese invent them at the same time they invented gunpowder.
Right, back in the day when they made the first rockets.
Yeah,
like 1000 BC or what? I don't
know. I would have to, if I was going to do a hot air balloon, I would have to have the little jet engines on the side that I could turn it. If I was going towards the power line,
right.
And the wind was just blowing me there, and it's like you can't stop it, and it's like you're seeing the power line come at you, and all of a sudden, I don't know, that feeling of loss of control would drive me nuts. I think. I guess you can just make it land quick, but I don't know. It's scary.
You're going with the wind with those pretty much, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I wouldn't like that not having control.
Yeah, but it's just, again, because I remember reading a book about they were talking about flight, and they were showing a French hot air balloon from like the early 1800s, like way before the Civil War.
Yeah,
and I was just like, wait, they had hot air balloons even before then? It's like apparently they had hot air balloons as early as like 1708. So
I would have thought it would have been. I don't know why I had this impression that they're pretty.
The Chinese had something similar way earlier, but the problem is it wasn't a hot air balloon. It was weird. Remember, the Chinese are weird.
You ever seen the movie The Mummy? Maybe I forget what it is. They have like this really cool looking boat that's being carried by big balloons.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a cross between a Zeppelin and a jet, more or less. I'm like, there's no way they could have had that at that point in time. Nobody could have come up with that.
That's how they got their boats to the Nile River.
Because if you looked at the propulsion was more jet-like than anything.
They could have floated the rocks to the pyramids when they built them.
They could have floated, yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
Heisenberg says with all the UAP going into the water, we should really investigate our oceans. Well, I'm pretty sure that they are.
I'd be afraid of what we might find.
Yeah.
No offense, because I know how many ships have been lost in the sea.
It seems like every month I see an article in some science magazine where they find some scary looking, alien looking animal at the deep depths of the ocean. And I'm thinking,
which remember on old maps, like before they filled in all the holes on the map. You remember if you look at old maps where they're like, there be dragons here and there's sea monsters here and whatnot, because they had no idea what was there. And they would always tell the stories about the evil Kraken, and then 10, 20 years ago, maybe a few years, or maybe a couple of years more, they actually found a giant squid, and it's like, okay, the Kraken's real. The Kraken is real.
If I found one 16 foot, I could have one 50 feet. Wow,
I tell you what, that's a lot of calamari.
But octopus are really smart. I mean, sometimes you really think about forms of aliens. And if it turns out that octopus are actually aliens, I'm not going to be that surprised, to be honest with you.
They are funny. I mean, no animal should spray ink.
And then they can change colors to look like anything they want.
Yeah.
And even mimic other shapes.
Make a choice. Are you an octopus or are you a chameleon? Right?
Or squid.
Well, and just the way they act around humans is strange too.
Well, it shows they're super intelligent.
They act like they know.
I can't get behind that comment.
It's weird.
Jennifer White is out there saying the Earth is flat. No, we're not talking about the flat Earth. If you want flat Earth discussion, you have to go elsewhere, because I've actually been in an airplane. I've seen how the world curves. There is no way in hell the Earth is flat.
Okay,
sorry.
She's kidding.
Where do you see the chat at? Are you on YouTube?
I'm on StreamYard. I'm looking on the side.
Okay.
If you click the comments tab, it shows you all the.
Let me see here.
Dang, I thought I was the only one with that kind of control.
No, you're not. No, I'm a tech guy. I'm the one who tells you these things.
That's right.
Piezoelectricity, I definitely agree with that. That's so cool to me. That's a late comment.
What's that?
Piezoelectricity is just like the electricity that's related to like pressure. I don't know. That's probably not a good explanation, but it's pretty cool. Just compressing materials releases energy. So if they have these piezoelectric mats basically on sidewalks, and you just walk on the sidewalk, and the fact that people are even just walking on them lights up lights.
Here's what's interesting. I saw this just, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. You can actually connect a circuit to a piece of wood, right? And when you hit the wood with a hammer, or when you compress it quickly, it will actually give off an electric current.
Yep.
Because I guess you're displacing the electrons in the I don't know.
That's pretty much, I think, what it is.
Yeah, I think that's all you're doing. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Reminds me of the experiments we used to do in science class, where we used to run like a clock off a potato. You remember those?
Oh yeah, I've done that with oranges.
Oranges and lemons too. Yeah.
You can make batteries. So have you ever heard of I think they call it the Baghdad battery. It's like what they call the original battery. There's a clay pot, and it has a copper thing inside, and they think they used to fill it with like orange juice or something like that. But that was like an ancient thing that they found. They call it the Baghdad battery. It's like over 1,000 years old. They call it the first battery. So
I remember that.
There's a lot of technology that's come and gone. And so that's where, it almost relates back to ancient technologies. And
there's only one technology I really want to know about, but I can't find anything on. I really want to know if Tesla really made that death ray. I really do.
What are you talking about?
I'd give it to a 99%, yeah.
Nikola Tesla, before he died, he went on and on and on about he was contracted by the United States government to make a death ray.
I give you the 99% yes.
Oh, I thought you said threat.
No,
I was like, what?
he made a death ray, and he went on about it. He gave lectures on it and whatnot, did everything. But at the end of the day, the government went looking for it because they thought they'd actually paid for something that they never received.
Well,
and it ended up they didn't actually pay for anything.
What's the difference in a death ray in the tower that he built that would shoot out voltage through the air?
Well, that voltage was supposed to send out voltage long distances to other towers that would take it and use it.
I know. I'm just saying that still was projecting energy in a right. So there's not that there's not that much difference between that and a directed energy weapon, right?
Honestly, I believe Tesla was way ahead of his time on some of the things that he came up with.
Yeah,
really. It's just I just like how he was because of people like Westinghouse, because of people like what's the guy who created?
If you hadn't said Westinghouse, I would have known. The light bulb guy.
The light bulb guy.
We're talking about Edison.
Edison.
Yeah,
for people like Edison, who went and stole people's pets and publicly executed them in front of those people using one of Tesla's methods, trying to disprove alternating current. Because because Tesla's trying to prove his direct current is better. Honestly, we would have gotten a lot further with the technology of electricity than we are right now. We would have gone much further because Edison chose to be, I hate to say this, and I'm sorry to use this terminology, Tony, but Edison chose to be a giant dick instead of an actual scientist.
Don't make me have to bleep you out.
I know you're gonna have to bleep me, but it's just because honestly, someone steals my pet and publicly executes it in front of me. You better hope you've got enough security. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
I haven't heard of that. I did.
Yeah. He did that. It's true.
He would shock animals to make AC current look bad.
I heard he did that with an elephant or something like that.
No,
he wanted to prove that it was dangerous, so he ran his one current through. Nothing really happened. He runs his other one through. He fries the animal.
There was a report, and it's actually in the history books that Thomas Edison went and hired a group of thugs, more or less, to go and steal a neighborhood that he was doing an lecture in on alternating current and trying to promote direct current instead. Where he had them go and steal people's pets, and then he publicly executed them using alternating current in front of those people.
Yeah, I didn't know they were.
What Tesla did though was he turned around and invited people to his laboratory where he showed current passing through his body. Remember?
Yeah.
He would
sit in like a million volts.
Yeah. And so that helped to
disprove a lot of that.
But what really helped was when he showed that AC current could be sent for miles. And DC current couldn't.
That's really what went on. That's why we use direct current in our cars, because it's better for moving vehicles than alternating current is. And alternating current, because it can be run for miles, is better for powering homes and and buildings instead of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some science and history there for you.
At the end of the day, though, right? It comes down to like what infrastructure the money's behind.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have the backing and the way to distribute it or the way to manufacture it or anything, it's where the money is, and that's what Edison was good at, in a way you could say.
Yeah, and because Tesla, let Westinghouse off on all those patent royalties and whatnot, because Westinghouse, whined about it to him. That's why Tesla died literally penniless.
And then they stole his files.
Yeah.
The Men in Black.
So
isn't that the rumor that the Men in Black came and took the files?
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what the internet says.
Well, the internet's never wrong. It never lies to you, does it, Tony?
Well, the general consensus is that the files are missing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like a lot of
so
those
is that
files
death
that are
ray,
sought.
by the way. That death ray is still missing too. But
I think they're still around somewhere. I mean, Tesla Tech, he was way ahead of our time, or his time. He was like
his time.
He's equal with our time now, almost. I would say.
honestly, if he was here now, he would come up with better ideas now.
Yeah.
Now, Tesla was around long enough to, I wonder what was his, on which side of the argument was he on, when there was this big debate going on with like Einstein, talking about spooky action at a distance.
Well,
I wonder if he was an Einstein guy or what was
Tesla's an ether guy. Very much ether.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would write to Einstein telling him he's wrong. The ether exists. Yeah.
So he was a quantum physics guy.
Yeah.
He talks about it a lot, actually, how Tesla was a very UAP kind of guy, actually. Like, he talks about the quantum nature, the ether, the energy within, how there's nothing you can't do except for your imagination. He feels sorry for the rest of humanity who's stuck in their little spirals of doubt, you could say. Tesla was a very, like, mind, body, spirit, UAP kind of guy. He was 100% energy. Like, I think I sent you that documentary. It was like an interview with Tesla. And this guy did a really good job translating it. It's like a 45-minute documentary, but it was an original newspaper reporting. And a newspaper journalist went to Tesla and asked him questions. Like, Mr. Tesla, what do you think about this? And then Tesla would answer. And so the guy did the whole back and forth Q&A with Tesla, but he made it like a 45-minute video. I'm pretty sure it's legitimate. I hope it is. If not, I'm a fool. But I think it's like a legit Tesla Q&A.
Well, that should be something. Don't they have the newspaper article from that then?
They probably do.
Wasn't that like it wasn't a magazine guy, but it was somebody like that, right?
Right. It was just a journalist doing an interview with Tesla.
Was it a newspaper or like like one of these science magazine type people?
It could have been a science journal, one of the science journals.
Yeah.
Well, like he was being interviewed, right? A Q&A, however, whatever you want to put it. Science journal, I don't know.
No, I was just trying to figure out who I don't remember.
Yeah,
I remember hearing this, but I can't remember who the journalist was.
Right.
Yeah.
He goes into it though. He talks about the esoteric nature and all. He goes well into it. Yeah.
I think I remember seeing that. Didn't they have a guy who looked really pretty closely like Tesla, and he even spoke like him? Or am I thinking about the Tesla?
You might be thinking something different right now. I'm going to share it with you, I guess. Just
I think I'm thinking of the Tesla movie.
I'm just going to find it real quick, but. Might take a while to find.
Lots of dead air.
Yeah, but actually, I think I just found it pretty quick.
Well, hold on. Let's see who can be the quietest.
That's awkward. I can't even see you guys right now. I'm just staring at my computer.
Yeah, well.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email from your boss. You have to finish.
Don't get us copyrighted.
Skip ads.
Oh, I hate ads.
Part of this interview is dedicated to Tesla's critics on Einstein's theory of relativity that discards the ether as energy.
All right. I'm sharing this. This is what it is. Tesla, Everything is Light, interview with Nikola Tesla.
Okay. I'll look that up.
Journalist.
Oh, you can put a link.
You have gained the glory of the men who got involved in the cosmic process. Who are you, Mr. Tesla?
It's really cool. I watched the whole thing. I almost want to rewatch it now, just starting it.
Can you put the link in the chat?
Yeah, I just copied it. How do I actually comment in this chat?
Click private chat and just copy it there.
Well, no, you can post it on YouTube chat. You can.
Well, he has to be a moderator on your YouTube channel for that.
Oh, well, why aren't you? How do I do that?
I'll do it.
I put that in private chat.
See, there's Tony. We're live with Tony. I know I'm a moderator in Tony's chat, so I can just copy it.
Copy link. Let's see.
Copy pasta.
There you go. But yeah, so I thought, that'll go over everything Tesla says, how he goes into a lot of really cool detail.
That's the right
I already did it. I already did it, Tony.
Oh, you already did it. Okay.
I already did it because I'm awesome.
No, I thought you were making. Let's see. Let me go to.
It might be the story is from a play. Right here, my understanding is that the story is from a play, but if you listen carefully. I would watch this. It's super cool. That's why I shared it. There you go.
Can you type something in the comments, Alexei?
Are you asking if I can type stuff in the comments?
Will you type something in there so your name will show up? Say, hello, Jennifer. I'm the man.
I just wrote hello.
There we go.
Because I'm going to make you a moderator so you can put links in the comments and
In the
stuff.
YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I could probably just go on YouTube though and like comment in the chat, right?
Yeah. That's all you need to do.
I can see you don't like authority, being an authority figure. So
No, he's
I'm trying to make you a moderator. And you're
trying to give him power, and he's like, I don't want
resisting at all costs.
Right. Right. Like, I just want to be mellow, man. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
Well, what else can we talk about? Have we beat this dead horse?
I mean, why don't we talk about guns?
We haven't really talked about guns that much.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. So hit me. Come on, Alexei. You got any questions about guns, or any ideas about guns that you're interested in?
What was that you were 3D printing, Alexei?
Yeah. What were you 3D printing?
Oh, I guess.
Or is that top secret?
You can say it, right?
It's kind of half top secret. It's a beaver tail design.
Okay, it's a beaver tail design. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Yeah. For so you don't get pinched when you're
Right.
Yeah. Oh man.
So you don't get slide bite. That's what when the slide pinches your skin in between the frame of the gun and the slide. It's called slide bite.
I've had several. The worst one I ever had was a P64.
Yeah.
And they're notorious. Every time I gave that gun away in a giveaway just to get rid of it. Everybody thought I was a nice guy. I was like, I'm getting rid of this gun once and for all.
It's not ready to show off yet.
Not ready? Okay. All right.
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to show it off.
That's okay. YouTube probably shut me down anyway.
They probably would. They probably would.
No, it's close to it though. I think we could do another podcast soon with it. Yeah.
What? No. And you're printing? Can you say why you're printing that? Did you say you're printing it for a friend?
Yeah, just a project I'm working on. I do a lot of little projects.
You've got other stuff you've printed, right?
Yeah. I designed when I was doing a lot of just random drawings. I had designed a Glock that had 3 barrels on it. That was fun.
Oh my god,
and
that'd be a nightmare to try and load.
And then they also have the self-racking holsters. Because the Makarov, as far as I know, is like the only real legit self-racking holster kind of thing. So we were kind of designing one for a Glock, but
you need to do it like for a Springfield in case it doesn't work. Then they won't make Glock look bad.
Yeah, make it for the XDs.
Yeah.
That one though, we had a working prototype of. It was cool, and it had like magnets on it, so you could like magnetize like a blade to the side of it. But it's not very. I don't know. It wasn't finished. I never got to a point where I wanted to sell it.
Yeah. Jennifer White brought up an interesting question, and I'm going to find out because I live close to Sequoia nuclear plant, or I'm going to. I'm getting ready to move to my little shack, and it's going to be on the mountain above the nuclear plant.
Actually, I read a report the other day from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and here's funny. They were trying to warn people, warn the reactors in California and in the western part of the United States, warning people of fake or counterfeit reactor parts.
That's what I need.
And I'm like, what counterfeit reactor parts? Well, what's this all about?
Are they on Facebook Marketplace?
Apparently, one nuclear reactor, I don't know, they didn't say which one, got in trouble because some of the water piping parts they were using were counterfeit parts and weren't up to Nuclear Regulatory Commission spec. And it was just the water piping parts, with the valve on it and everything. It's just like it would be normal water parts, but it wasn't up to spec. And they were trying to let everybody know, don't use counterfeit reactor parts. And I'm like, it's just water.
Okay.
It's just water parts.
Were they just going to Lowe's and getting them?
I don't know.
Yeah,
they were going
PVC.
To Lowe's. No. They were probably ordering them off of Amazon. They were real.
We're not talking about water that comes out of your creek, okay?
No, but it was just the article was so ridiculous, and I was just like, really, guys? This is what you spend your time on? This counterfeit reactor parts?
Well, here's what's crazy. If you go back,
I'll be right back. Give me a minute. Let me use the restroom.
All right.
Well, I'm going to save that for when Alexei comes back. But anyway, to answer your question, Jennifer, or you didn't have a question. I was making up a question. When I get situated, I'm going to be setting up a little stand over the mountain that overlooks Sequoia nuclear plant, and I've got a camera that's got the IR filter taken out of it, and so I can see visible light and infrared from 600 to 1200 nanometers, and should be fun.
Tony, did you make the landing pad yet?
What?
Yeah, we had a discussion about this. You promised you would make a landing pad for UFOs.
Well, until I build my other little cabin, the main cabin, there's a landing pad there now.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's about 60. Well, no, it's about 80 feet around.
You said you were going to make a UFO UAP landing pad.
I thought you were talking about it for a helicopter.
No.
See, you're being facetious again. I thought you were being serious.
I'm teasing. We had this conversation. We did actually have this conversation.
I remember now.
but I am teasing. But when we were talking about, Tony said as soon as when Tony bought the piece of land, and he was going through all the some of the preliminary designs, and he was showing me off this stuff, and I go, okay, Tony, where is the UAP UFO landing pad? Because you got to have one. You just got to have one. It'll look great. And he's like, I could put it right here, but I really think it should go right here, and I'll probably have to build that last.
And then I was thinking, no, I don't want anyone to land next to my little.
No, he doesn't want. He does. Then he's like, no, I don't want anybody to land. I'm like, man. But that's how that conversation went.
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be doing any meditating or anything up there because
you don't have enough room.
Well, besides that, anytime that, and I've talked to Alexei about this, wish he'd come back, but if anytime I exercise any deep meditation, I have these really weird, vivid, I call them,
experiences.
Experiences, and when I don't, I just have normal dreams. So I'm thinking that meditation, deep meditation, the proper type of meditation, is almost like a beacon. So I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing any mountaintop meditation.
No.
I'd like to keep my location.
Well, you know what my mountaintop meditation is?
What's
going
that?
out in the backyard and doing target practice.
Yeah,
that's my meditation.
Meditation in motion.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that's what that is.
It's just I mean, what I don't know if you've ever gone shooting or gone to the range, Alexei, but once you have, you kind of get why other people do it.
I've done a lot of different shooting drills.
Okay, so you understand you understand the feeling of why people do it then.
Yes. What I like is actually clay shooting.
I love clay shooting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. What I like to do. Sorry, go.
I've got this target. I got this target that I can set up where you can actually put actual clay pigeons in and just shoot it like a shooting gallery.
Right. So, yeah, that's cool. Like they have a spot over here. You drive around with a golf cart. It's almost like golfing, but and then you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then but so I do a thing because it's fun because it's a game. You like to have fun,
right?
So we'll like pull the thing, and then you have to load and shoot, right? So you're not loaded yet. It's like, all right, ready, pull. So it's load, rack, shoot, pop another one, rack. I don't have the motion right now, but you get it down real quick, and you're shooting the two shots.
Right.
Before, and you haven't even loaded your gun until the thing gets shot. Yeah. I don't know. I'll be right back. Yeah, no, there's.
He's wild.
He keeps leaving.
Well, he's a very busy individual.
Well, before I forget, like say, when we interview Lou, I was going to say something he said in my last interview. I want to give away one of his books and one of your books.
Cool.
But let me tell you, I don't know if y'all, I know it's been a while since I interviewed him, but when I asked him, we were talking about this nuclear power plant thing, And I told, somehow it came up that I lived next to this power plant, and he said, "Where is it?" And I said, "Well, it's north of Chattanooga, Tennessee." And he was like, "Hmm." And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, whoa!" And I want to go back and watch that again.
Isn't that part of where the Manhattan Project originally came from?
No, oh well, Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge, yeah.
Oak Ridge
It's
is
not
where
far from you.
No, it's only about 50 miles.
Yeah.
But
You
I was
guys were talking about meditation.
we jump all over the place.
Well, I was saying that, I don't know how much deep meditation I'm going to be doing on the mountaintop, because that's some freaky stuff I was getting into, and I have this
Sounds like
theory.
you were experiencing visions or something.
Well, I have this theory that if you're doing it properly, you're almost like there's a beacon. You're sending out, you're pinging, and so anyway, that's the crazy talk.
All right, Tony, I need one ping only.
If anyone can tell me
what movie that's from, you get kudo points.
What's that?
If anybody can tell me what movie that's from, they get kudo points.
Say it again, though.
Give me one ping only.
Oh, that's Red Hunt for Red October.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got excited.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
That's one of my favorite movies.
It is. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
When I was in high school, I loved reading all the Tom Clancy's books that he had out, and one of my favorite was, I loved the movie The Red October, but I loved the book too. I absolutely love the book, and I thought, while they didn't do the movie exactly like the book, but they did it close enough to where they just kind of hit it out of the park, in baseball terms.
I'm a huge fan of meditation and motion. That's
yeah.
No, like people wonder oh, how do you meditate? Well, sometimes I just drive my truck, 3 hours or something like that. But honestly, meditation and motion, dropping in a half pipe, going around, and you learn a lot.
Could I claim? Could I claim driving my diesel tractor as a meditation emotion?
Totally. That's what I was saying. When you go out in the backyard and you're shooting your gun, that's the same thing as doing flow yoga. Those people, they're doing yoga, they're doing flow yoga, they're going with their flow, but it's they're categorizing it so differently because now they're doing flow yoga. That's why I've never practiced yoga in my life, but I've meditated my entire life. I don't know. So people meditate all the time, but they don't call it meditation. They just call it, I was thinking, or I was sitting there
lost in thought.
Right, lost in thought, or you're meditating. Yeah.
Well, and of course, there's different levels, right? There's a deeper.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about.
No, Alexei doesn't have any scales. We saw him before. Me and Tony saw him before he put the neck gaiter on. He doesn't have scales.
Oh, there you go. It's kind of it's just a thing I do. Yeah. It's my subconscious, be safe, because apparently there's something going around
that people are afraid of for some reason.
Well, I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into it either.
No, I don't. Yeah. That's one thing I don't do. I don't try to judge other people's, response to those types of things.
That's why I always kind of just have this with me. If someone's uncomfortable, I'll put the mask up. If they're cool, I'll put it down. I'm not trying to start any problems. Just kind of go flow.
Yeah.
But yeah, the meditation thing. I started this thing called I've been learning in my dreams for a very long time, right? And kind of always get the next lesson. You could say when I wake up, I need to go do this as far as my meditative trance. One of the wildest things I was doing for about 9 months was there's a pier here in Tampa called Ballast Point Pier. And if you walk to the end and back, it's about a 20-minute walk. And so I would stand on the handrail with my double nunchucks and do the whole handrail doing the routine. And so I did that every morning for about 9 months. And then after that, you know, I moved out with my camper into the woods kind of for like 9 months. I had to go like get my own water. I had a jug. I was collecting rainwater. And at that time, I built a platform up in the trees and I surrounded the whole thing in color changing LEDs. And I was practicing different meditations. And so I would start off with the whole thing being lit in red and do rooting exercises. And then I would change the colors to eventually get to the indigo where I was doing out of body experiences. So like I've kind of been learning a lot and then just doing my own meditation methods for a very long time now. But each one going to the next level of, you could say, you know, removing delusion.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Tony was mentioning how, you know, when he did meditation, he would, you know, what did you exactly see, Tony? Did you see anything or?
Well, what I would do, and I think the mistake I make is I do it as I'm going to sleep, because I noticed that if I was able to reach a certain level of meditation before I went to sleep, it would kind of cause me to have really, you know, and this maybe, I don't know if my wife left me over this or not, but you know, it was either, you know, the hallucinations were really bad, you know, and so I could tell the difference when I started. I did an experiment. I just wouldn't, you know, stop meditating for a period of time and they would go away. But and then I would start meditating deeply again and I would have these little episodes, you know. So that's the kind of crazy talk, you know, that can get you in trouble when you're a gun owner.
Yeah, you know, it sounds more like those were meditative visions than
that's what I want to say, vision.
Hallucinations.
Yeah,
but again, it's all about perception, right?
It's whatever. Yeah, I mean, somebody would say, well, that's your mind creating that, you know. And I'm not so sure all of it is, well, your mind is facilitating.
There's a lot your mind can create, but there's also a lot that can just, you know, that can come to you naturally because of your subconscious.
Definitely. Have you ever seen that show called Hypnotize Me? It wasn't really that good of a one, but
it wasn't that good.
No, I'm just kidding. They had like an audience of 5 or 6 people, and they're supposed to do like the most simple task ever. But before they're supposed to do it, they get hypnotized by a hypnotist. And so like all you have to do is like put something, you know, just the simplest task, but they can't do it because the hypnotist has confused them into thinking a different reality actually exists. And so I almost feel like, from what I've experienced now, that society is almost in a state of hypnosis. And like it really relates back to the Stanford prison guard experiment. And we all almost get programmed subconsciously as we grow up. And as you remove those things that you've been taught, almost you just get such a bigger view of reality. And you can see more of what's actually real. I don't know. I'm kind of babbling, but I wouldn't call it a hallucination. I would stick with the more that was a vision that came after a lot of meditation. Yeah. You know,
that's what I would say, because that's what it sounds more like.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it can be seen as crazy talk. So
you're not crazy.
I can understand why, you know, people shy away from talking about
Tony, you're eccentric. You're not crazy.
But I'm just saying I can understand why people shy away from, you know, when you have certain experiences and you start to talk about them, you'll go up to a certain line or edge, you know, a precipice, and then you're like, I don't want to go over that line, you know. That's why my theory is that it was easy to get people to not talk about it because they didn't want to in the first place. Right. So all they needed was one little threat from, you know, the people who were trying to keep these things classified, and it wasn't that difficult, you know. I suppose that's the way it seems to me. So,
well, also kind of personal experiences.
Yeah,
I think so. I think in a way, like a lot of them are personalized to you. So like for example, I was on the job site, and I think this guy had to him, it was probably like the most amazing encounter. But he comes up to me and tells me how this frog was like looking at him, and I was just like, God, dude, we got to get the window in. Can we talk about the frog later?
Are you sure you're not on any medication?
Right. So, I mean, in some ways, I think it's more of like a personal thing a lot of times too.
Right.
where the other person really can't connect to what you're trying to tell them. They don't really quite see it. No, just a thought.
No, yeah. And I don't know. Like I said, most people don't really want to go there. Most people are happy in their little pink houses, and they don't want there to be anything outside that realm. You know,
They don't want anything to be outside the norm because then they can't explain it.
If you're a mother and you have 3 kids, and you really don't want to go to them and explain that, you know, there's little gray men that could be running around. You know,
you don't want to scare your children. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, you spend your whole life trying. Not everyone, but like in a way, right? People spend their whole life trying to be successful, meaning be normal within their family or their culture. And it's like if you're trying to be normal, then you can't be. You have to live up to the accepted standard, right? And that's typically what's pushed by media or whatever you just see in your day, and that's just not what's accepted. But in other cultures, it's highly accepted. Like in India, for another example, right? Like the whole like realms and Shiva, yeah. All that stuff, like well known and well accepted.
Right.
But even in India, because I know I've worked for a couple of guys. I'm actually working right now for a couple of guys.
Say that they might be listening.
I know. No, they don't. They don't watch my videos. Nobody watches my videos. That's why I can talk about this stuff.
Hold on. I watch your videos.
I'm just kidding.
I watch them.
The intellectuals in India see themselves as above some of that stuff, just like people. You know what I mean? So I know what you mean by the culture of India is deeply rooted in, you know, Jainism or whatever, you know, Hindu, Buddhism, you know, the gurus or whatever. But then there are people just like in their society who get to a certain point in their, you know, in society, and they become just like, you know, everybody else who wants to sort of, you know, not be that, you know, not go there. You know, that's my experience from the guys who have moved to farther west here in the United States. And but I could be wrong. It could be that those are just a few people I know that are like that, you know.
I do know one thing, Tony. If I need to make a building using shipping containers, I will let you know.
Yeah, well, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
I know you love that kind of thing. I know you do. So I will let you know when I do. You know I'm only teasing.
And I'll talk you into doing what I did. Just
you probably will. You
frame up a little pack that's the same, that's wider and that has a human scale to it.
Yeah, you probably will.
I had a viewer send me some. He might be watching. If you are, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking with you. He sent me some. He sent me some photographs of he watched the video I made of how to install windows it's a no weld method, right? Because you see all these people, you know, burning, you know, welding, taking all day to put one window in, and you don't need to do that. And
I saw that, and I'm like, wow, you guys really suck at welding.
That's the main problem. Most people suck at welding. I mean, but, and you have to caulk it anyway, right? You can't. Nobody has watertight welds.
No,
but
no.
What are you talking about? I build yachts.
Okay. Pros do.
You got to test it with dye. No, my welds are not watertight.
No,
mine aren't either.
Somebody like you, Alexei, could do it, but I'm saying the everyday.
That's my welding.
But
that's like I got like a weak welder. It doesn't give me enough juice.
I do too, but Alexei, I'll tell you one thing. My grandfather, who was a welder, told me. You know, and also if you watch YouTube, Diesel Creek says it often too. A grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't.
Right? Yeah. No, you make it smooth for sure.
Make it smooth.
Yeah. But I like the flapper disc. That's what I get on.
Yeah. I mean, I've got like a 120 volt MIG that I use, flux core. Nice. It does its job, but again, I'm probably going to have to buy a TIG welder because guns.
This is my easy bake welding machine.
Oh, that's not a wire? Is that a wire fed or is that a stick welder?
A stick.
Yeah, I want to get a stick welder. I don't like my wire fed.
That's so cute. Where'd you get that? China?
This guy taught me to weld, and he was like, "This is going to be the best welder I could get you right now. It's like $100. You'll be able to do anything you want with it. Use it at your house." It's like, okay, sounds good.
The funny thing is that my Flux Core MIG, I got that at Tractor Supply for about $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they work. It's 120. Right. Is it ideal? Are you going to use it for commercial practices?
No.
It's what's known, people, as a hobby welder.
I call it my easy bake.
Yeah, like that's about all it is worth. All it's worth.
The one we use on the job site. I mean, it looks like a generator. The thing's huge. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got 100.
Some welders,
the big Lincoln.
Some welders have generators attached to them.
That's what it is. It's a generator. Yeah. Like I called it a generator, but he called it a welder. I was like, nah, I think it's a generator. Like,
well, no. Depending on the size of welder, some of them have generators built into just to power the damn welder.
And they're on trailers even.
Yeah.
That was we filled it up with diesel every day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Some of these welders on YouTube though are kind of like the
diesel. Yeah, it's probably an onan.
Kind of like the the flamers in the UAP, because I remember the first welding video I made. It was a barrel stove, and I'm just playing, And
oh no! Don't tell me you did.
I had like 100 welders tell me I sucked at welding. I was like, it's just for fun, guys. Come on, lighten up. You should have done this. You should have done that.
Well, Tony, that's just like taking your SKS and putting it in any stock other than the original. Normally all the answers you're going to get on YouTube are Bubba, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to an SKS. I admit that. I did get a Duckbill magazine for it.
I've got those too.
Yeah.
But it's just it doesn't matter what it is. Somebody will try and be funny at something.
You don't know how close I almost became that. What was his name? Kentucky Ballistics. What was his?
Oh, the 50 BMG scare.
Yeah, I almost. If I hadn't have double checked my bore. That I cleaned all the cosmoline like down with a toothbrush, right? Well, I go to the range and I noticed the round was a little bit resisted.
Was there a lot of cosmoline in the chamber?
And I finally was like, oh, I'm taking this out, and I looked down and there's still cosmoline in the barrel. I was like, what in the world was I getting ready to do? Anyway.
It really wouldn't have hurt it, but it wouldn't be fun to clean after.
I don't know. I stuck a rod when I got home, and
I've seen people shoot with cosmoline still in the barrel. Is it good? No, but can you? Yeah, but it's not preferable.
It's the cosmoline that takes up like concrete.
No, you don't want to shoot that. No.
Yeah, no,
because there's different type of cosmoline. There's normal cosmoline, then there's the machine packing grease that a lot of new manufactured guns use. Because companies make a ton of them and then they store them and then they ship them out. They use mechanical packing grease. Like if you ever, Alexei, if you've ever put together like a weightlifting machine or a piece of exercise equipment like that, a lot of the bolts will be in packing grease. Same type of grease.
Yeah.
Same type of grease.
This was a 60-year-old Russian cosmoline. Okay,
you literally dunk the whole gun in that type of packing grease, and it literally preserves the gun for like 50 years or more.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's same concept as bolts. So the bolts stay shiny and not rusty, but same thing concept with guns. That's what cosmoline is. All it is machine packing grease.
Well, I don't know what was wrong with this cosmoline, but it's set up like a cake, like a thick cake that I couldn't even jam.
Maybe it could have been a bad mix.
Yeah, I couldn't even jam
it up or something.
I couldn't even get it out with a cleaning rod, and I still haven't gotten it out to this day.
When I got my first SKS, I thought that's what that was. So the cosmoline just dried up. Turns out it was actually rust. It wasn't cosmoline. There was no cosmoline on the rifle. It was all rust.
Oh, I can promise you there was cosmoline on this one.
There was cosmoline in the stock. Was there any cosmoline on the metal? No, actually, that was rust. I had to treat that sucker. That was not a fun time.
This is not cosmoline. I mean, not rust. I can promise you that. I'll show it to you.
All right.
I'll send you a picture.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think we went all over the place tonight.
We went all over the place, and we accomplished a little bit of what I wanted to accomplish, and it was an impromptu roundtable. That's
now I'm out of myself, and now I can only hang out with you, Tony.
That's it. See, that was the real goal. You have to sell guntube.org now.
I'm gonna have to go, create UAP.org now. UAPtube.org.
Well, that's funny.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. I know it was impromptu. It literally was. It was like, what did I send you an email 30 minutes before we went on?
Yeah, I was falling asleep.
So I was just kind of feeling I was in the mood to do something because I was looking forward to us doing our little planning meeting for Lou's interview. And when that didn't happen, I was like, dang, I was really wanting to.
We could still do that tomorrow. Or whenever you're available.
What was Chris saying? I forgot. He sent an email saying he couldn't do anything today because they were renovating the apartment next door. He lives in Portugal. Nightstryke. He lives in Portugal, so he lives in this. I don't know. Oh, I'm going to get hoarse now that I've been talking so much. I don't know. He lives in some commune where.
Oh, don't use that word.
I'm just kidding.
It's a taboo word.
He lives in a building, with other tenants. I get the feeling it's like condos or something, right, Alexei?
I'm not sure.
And he has these neighbors, so they're banging on the walls, and he said he couldn't do anything online this evening. So anyway,
he didn't let the cats out.
Thanks, guys, and I figured you two would get along pretty well because you're both smart guys, and I knew
we shoot some clays sometime.
Yeah,
I shot clays when I was as a teen, and I was better at it then actually than I am now. I'm pretty sure, but
I haven't done it in a year or two, but I like it, man. It's fun.
I'd have to get a shotgun. All I've got is a pump. I've got a pump shotgun. They would that would be the thing about gun clubs that have clays is that everyone's real snooty about the gun you have. You have to have a Benelli, you have to have if you don't have a $2,000, $3,000 shotgun, then you can't shoot clays.
I'm cheap. I got a semi-auto shotgun for $179. I'm cheap. It's a 4+1, four in the tube, one in the chamber.
You haven't taken the plug out yet?
I've taken it. I actually disassemble it. There's no plug.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure because it's only got a 20-inch
tube
barrel.
This long? I mean, four rounds is only. Where's the
tube? Well, it's
that's just like 12 inches.
It's 3-inch or 2 1/4.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Jennifer White. To your comment, there's a reason why in the gun world you want to keep your ammo and your powder dry, because if it gets wet, it may not function. Your ammo may not shoot properly in your firearm. That's why you really don't want to get mud on it. You don't want to get water. You don't want to get it doused in water. You don't want to get the ammunition anywhere near anything that could, mess up the variable of the gun going and shooting the bullet.
Well, the other thing is, you can clean mud off of a gun with just a little water, right?
Right.
You can't clean cosmoline off of a gun that, the guns in World War I didn't have cosmoline on them.
No,
they only packed them with cosmoline when they put them in crates to
store them in warehouses.
Yeah. So,
which even the United States military has done that.
So you can't really compare. If she's trying to compare mud to cosmoline, it's not really a fair comparison. Because you can take a canteen with water in it and run it down the barrel and get mud out of a barrel.
I do know that at one point a few years ago they were able to find one of the original World War I bunkers in some farmer's field out in France, and it was actually perfectly preserved. but they had to fill it back in with water and mud because if they let it go for too long, it could have collapsed on them.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
AKs are very durable. I've had all kinds of AKs. and I've got
Beeperman says
one
get an
now I
AK.
need to-
Yeah, get an AK.
Yeah, I was
I've
just
got an
looking
AK.
at
I've got an
Yeah.
AK. I have an SKS. I want another SKS that runs properly because mine I got cheap and it doesn't work properly. So, problems, first world problems, right? You get something that doesn't work properly, you get another one.
Well, the jamming is like the worst thing you could ever come across. If it gets jammed up and you're actually in a situation where you need it. That's what's so good about the AK. It can get like dirty.
AKs can jam too. AKs can jam too.
Well, I'm sure.
Well, they're easy to run the slide. I mean, to run the bolt.
Right.
And
Well,
they're easy to manipulate.
Believe it or not, the AR-15 is just as easy as far as that goes too. And
I don't know. I find AK easier to run.
Maybe because the Russians made it a bit simpler because they're trying to be.
I mean, with an AK, you're holding. I hold mine with the grip with my right hand, and I reach over and run the bolt with my left hand.
Right.
And if I do that, I can do that like this with an AK. With an AR, for some reason, I got to get behind the.
You just got to pull the charging handle back.
Yeah, you got to pull the charger, but it has the thing. You have to
It's got the
reach
forward
your
assist
fingers around it.
Well, that's why you get an ambidextrous lever on it, and you can put it right on the charging handle. Makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man.
I know.
That's just my experience.
I know. I'm just giving you
other
options.
people. Alexei it might be easier for him to run the AR.
I like it on the right side.
I like my AR.
The one that comes out on the right. I'm not that good with it. I like it on the right for the right.
I've got an M1 Garand that I got not last year, but the year before, and it's just like I love it because it's an iconic piece of American history. 1, 2, it's a gun, so it's a rifle. I love it, but the fact is, I went and looked up the number of mine, 1944 January. So.
Cool.
So there's some history there, but I took it out to shoot it. First shot, I actually hit the plate I was aiming it at.
With what gun?
The M1 Garand.
How many yards?
I was probably shooting at 75 yards.
Well, you better hit the plate at 75 yards.
Shush. As I said, as I told you before, Tony, my range is only about 100 yards maximum.
When Alexei heads out west, he's going to stop in Chattanooga, and I'm going to take him to the range, and we'll hit those. I'll take him to our 200-300 yard. I never was so happy in my life with that Arsenal AK-74 I had, and I could just from standing just and hit that plate at 300 yards. I mean, the ballistics of an AK-74 are just magnificent. What did you say?
How's that new PSA AK treating you?
I haven't shot it yet. I need to go out. I got to get moved into my love shack, and then I can go shooting.
All right. But when you move into that shack, you have to play the B-52s. Okay, you have to.
Oh, I'm going to.
You got to play the song. You got to. It's mandatory.
9mm carbine can shoot 75 yards.
Yeah. No, a lot of guns can shoot 75 yards.
Don't get me on the pistol carbine rant, please.
Yeah, but it's just I love the M1 Garand just specifically for that. Once you're out, you got that ping noise. It's iconic.
Yeah. Well, you know what I can do? I can carry a lighter rifle around, but I can have that on my phone, that sound effect.
Yeah, I know.
I can make it play.
Yeah, you just go ping.
I don't have to carry a 20-pound rifle around just to get.
It's not. Honestly, they say it's 20 pounds. I've got one. It doesn't feel 20 like it's 20 pounds. It
Maybe
feels
unloaded. It's not 20 pounds.
5 or 6. It feels like it's like 7 or 8 pounds.
Oh, it can't be 7 or 8 pounds.
It doesn't feel that heavy.
Huh?
It does not feel that heavy.
Well, I know. I've shot one. Yeah.
You're just trying to be difficult.
Mm-hmm. I never could get the ping to work to sound good, though. Not like it is in the movies.
I have.
Unless they have a guy behind them using the ping. Like,
Yeah.
so
You got to have a guy standing right behind you, hitting a piece of metal. Bing.
A triangle.
Also, every time you shoot at a target, make sure he goes ping, 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 just so everybody thinks you hit the target.
That's good.
All right, I'm getting the signal. I have to start being quiet now. So
oh no!
I know when it gets late, my voice is like a laser beam. It shoots through the wall, so I have to
in every direction.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was fun. We'll have to do it again sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes too. Plural.
Plural? Okay.
No, Alexei Novitzky, that's the name of your channel, right? YouTube channel.
Yep. There you go.
And Nightstryke, that's the name of your YouTube channel too, right?
Yeah, well, it'll come up as Nightstryke 1, but that's only because YouTube made me put a last name for my YouTube channel name, and I'm like, why? But old YouTube is old YouTube.
All right, well, go check out these guys. They're great and very interesting. If they weren't, I wouldn't be hanging around them. All right, thanks, guys. Well, yep. I'll see you soon.
Yep.
You gonna end that live chat? I'm just kidding.
No, he's just gonna leave.
He just left
here. All right, so now it's the Nightstryke hour with.
Yeah, here we go.
Who else can we get in here? No,
This is his StreamYard. We could just send out some invites.
Actually, if he doesn't come back, it'll actually turn off after like 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. It will turn off after 5 minutes if you don't come back.
Yeah. That's funny. I was thinking we were gonna hang out for a minute, but anyhow,
I was too. But
yeah. Well, nice meeting you.
Yep, nice meeting you too.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, probably.
Yep. Later. Yeah. All right. Ooh, it's just me. Ooh.